Hello everybody, welcome back to another video here on the channel, another deep thoughts video, if you will. Today, we are of course going to go ahead and talk about none other than One Punch Man Season 2, Episode 3. I don't even really have much preamble to go through this week, so I'm just going to go ahead and jump into the episode, if you don't mind. And allow me to start with a slow clap. Because my goodness, JC Staff, where the hell did that come from? This episode was genuinely the best one so far, and it had the best animation so far. Would I go so far as to say that it's as good as Madhouse? No. But I will say, it was surprisingly pretty dope. The fight between Tank Top Master and Garou was really good, like surprisingly dope. Really caught me off guard. I don't know, it felt very energetic. It had that old season 1 feel to some of the punches. I do feel like if I had read the manga for this fight, maybe I would have felt a little bit differently, because there were some moments where it felt like there wasn't enough impact. Although when the series, or rather when this episode needed you to feel like people were getting hit, you felt like people were getting hit, like, especially poor Moomin Rider, but we'll get to that. But, like, man, this episode actually made me give a dang about Tank Top Master. I was genuinely like, right on, cool, yeah. And even when Moomin Rider jumps in the way and takes the hit, and everyone's like, what are you doing? And Moomin Rider rightfully points out, like, you're okay with killing a human. That's okay with you? Mind you, we know that Garou ain't human, but, like, you know, they think he is at the moment. So, like, yeah, I appreciate that Moomin Rider was like, what are you doing? And Tank Top Master himself was like, you're right. I shouldn't have done that. That's, you know what? That's cold. Tell you what, I'll let you walk away if you promise you'll never do it again, probably knowing full out, like, nah, this dude ain't gonna do that. And the fist, I couldn't help but notice that when he gives Garou that chance, and then Garou turns around, he's like, Yazef, and they go to hit each other. I don't know if anybody else caught it. I'm positive everybody caught this, but I have to point it out. The Tank Top Master's fist looked an awful lot like that shot looked an awful lot like when Genos and Saitama were sparring back in season 1, where Saitama's fist is like super huge. That's kind of what it reminded me of. And in that moment, I'm sure to Moomin Rider, Tank Top Master would have seemed as strong as Saitama for that initial part of the fight, until Garou just full out destroys the man. Like, I'm talking like, just to quote Olin Rogers, just destroyed him, just dropped him off to prom, just took him to prom, dropped him off, didn't even pay, just pfft. What a beast. What an absolute beast. But what else can I expect from the student of Silverfang? Silverfang, for those who don't know, he is probably my favorite character. I'm always a sucker for the older characters in the story. I don't know why. Old characters just, I don't know. Old folks, I just think they're really rad, and Silverfang is just the raddest. So of course I was like, oh man, the student of Silverfang. For a second, I thought that he in the beginning, when Chanrako, whatever his name is, funny enough, even Saitama couldn't remember this dude's name, but the orange-haired character, when he gets kicked out of Silverfang's dojo, later on we figure out that Silverfang was probably trying to protect him. But to me, I thought that for a second, I thought that was meant to be Garou, and I thought like we were getting Garou's backstory. I'm very curious to learn that, by the way, because Garou, he's a really neat antagonist, like a genuinely interesting antagonist, because I thought he was just going to be like, I'm a monster, blah, blah, blah. Like, and his whole aesthetic was going to be that he's just a big bad monster and everyone should be scared. And while that's certainly the case, we see little moments where there's a person in there, like there is a human in there, whether or not he'd destroy me for saying that or not. Like when he talks to the kid, that was a genuinely like kind of humanizing moment. And it kind of made me go like, okay, so Garou's not totally evil. If he wanted to, he could have just, and this is dark, but he could have just killed the kid and taken the hero book. But no, he's like, all right, kid, geez, you're stingy. All right, you can keep the dang book. Like he even says like, don't call me old dude, by the way, which, I mean, I was going to call him old dude. I think it's funny, but yeah, I don't know. I wasn't expecting Garou to be so human for a One Punch Man antagonist. Usually the antagonists so far have been sort of goofy, over the top, like unstoppable beasts. Whereas like Garou is certainly a goofy, unstoppable, over the top beast, but he's also sort of human, and I kind of dig that. And I don't know. I'm just curious to see that plus the scene of him like knocking out that dude who is being sort of like a I don't want to say sexist, but sort of like a creepy dick to those two girls. I like that, like, Garou just, like, one punch, man, the shit out of that dude. So it tells me, like, there's a good dude in there somewhere. But I'm curious to learn his backstory, because something changed that man. I don't know what it is, but yeah, something changed. But before I jump into some of the more funny elements, especially the interaction with Garou and Saitama, I do want to point out the sound effects in this show. Like, getting back to the Moomin Rider thing, first of all, as soon as Moomin Rider showed up, I'm like, if Garou lays hands on my son, I swear to God, my son, my boy. I don't even know why I called him my son. He's my boy. Moomin Rider's my precious boy. And, like, just the instant he showed up, I was like, oh God, no. Oh, please don't. And the sound effects when Moomin Rider, and even Tank Top Master, like, pretty much that whole, and, like, Tank Top Master's boys getting, like, ripped apart, it was brutal. Kudos to the sound department at JC Staff, because they made that sound horrible. Like it goes from like bam, like it goes from like punch sound effects into like punch, and then like a bit of punch with a bit of a squish into just these squishy, gross, like fleshy hits. It was really brutal. And I guess that's the point. Like, Garou was meant to be this like brutal, slaughtering just this monster, just this absolute beast, and the sound effects really helped with that. So a huge kudos there. And speaking of huge kudos, my God, this episode was really funny. I was not expecting. I mean, it's One Punch Man. I knew I was gonna get like the sort of like chuckle, like the side smirk, but I genuinely out loud laughed a number of times. JC Staff is actually selling the jokes a lot. Not that they had a poor time selling the jokes. That's the things that really saved episodes 1 and 2 for me. But this one, like, the jokes they really land. Like, especially the bananas one. Even though he does the banana joke, like, Saitama is basically, the whole joke is he's giving the people who got beat up bananas, because, you know, Saitama eats bananas, her. But it's like genuinely pulled off really well, and it kind of made me want to go eat a banana. I'm kind of hungry now. But yeah, I don't know, JC Staff really selling the jokes a lot better. Now, obviously, that's not really something I can totally attribute to them. It's obviously the writing on the part of one greatest mangaka of them all, but at the same time, they really did pull off these jokes really well. I'm genuinely impressed. I'm genuinely impressed and really happy to see that JC Staff is sort of like, you know what? No, maybe we can't be as grand and amazing as season 1 was, but you know what? We're gonna do our damn best. We're gonna put in the effort. We're gonna have some pretty solid fight, some wicked animation here and there. We're gonna have some good time, some good jokes, some good sound effects. Music wasn't too half bad in this one. We're gonna do our best. And JC Staff, you know what? Kudos. Genuinely, I'm proud of you. Keep it up. Proud of you. However, I do have 2 gripes with this episode. Just two little ones. 2 little ones that kind of held it back from a total gold star episode. It came close. JC Staff, you came close, and I know you're going to get there one day. But this is, instead of just getting regular thumbs up, I'll give you a strong thumbs up for this one, because I do have 2 gripes. Those gripes being, you could have cut a couple scenes. A couple scenes kind of felt like they either weren't necessary or maybe dragged a little too much. Like for some reason they felt the need to add in these like 3 rando heroes. Now, hey, maybe that's from the manga, I don't know, but you don't have to do it 1 for 1, or 1 for 1, mangaka 1, anyway. You didn't have to add that in. To me, I was like, these 3 are sort of useless. I get that they're trying to be like, no, it's not just A and S class heroes, it's every hero, but at the same time, like, I could have inferred that. Like, you didn't need that scene. That scene felt sort of pointless. It was the only jokes that didn't land for me, where like the guy's like, if they swing like this, you go like this, and then of course I was like, oh, let me guess, Garou's gonna show, and there he is. Like, so to me, could have cut that scene. Not super necessary. Maybe you could have extended the scene with oh, what are their names now? Gold Ball and I can't remember the rapier guy. Rapier, the sword, not the rapey guy. The sword guy. I can't. Oh my goodness, I'm leaving that in. You know who I mean? The dude whose name is escaping me, who made goofy ass sounds while he was fighting. You could have made their scene longer by cutting that, or maybe even made that really dope Tank Top Master and Garou fight a little bit longer. Yeah, I don't know. You could have done a little bit more by cutting that scene. A couple scenes, yeah, like I said, just felt a little too long. Could have cut. Likewise, and this one's a very small gripe, and I wouldn't have even had a gripe with this had I not noticed on Twitter Some people pointing out that Garou was actually, in this scene here, was actually meant to give a middle finger instead of a thumbs down. Now, I recognize that sometimes things have to get censored from, you know, in translation, some things don't always work. From manga to anime, sometimes you gotta censor some stuff. I get that. But there was puddles, and by puddles, I mean oceans of blood in this episode. People getting eviscerated with fists. And you're telling me that a middle finger was too far. That's television. I don't know if you guys, if anybody out there in the internet land has taken television broadcasting before. I did. I went to college for that. And television broadcasting censors the weirdest things. Some things just baffle me, where it's just like, no, we can show extensive violence, but a middle finger? No, hey, that's too far. We can't have the kids knowing what the middle finger means. That was stupid. I give a middle finger to that decision. But on the whole, though, friggin' phenomenal. JC Staff, I'm so proud of you. You came so close to a gold star, and I know in my heart that you're gonna get it. And you know what? I hope this episode, I hope people gave this show at least a 3-episode rule, because I think this episode might convince enough people that, hey, there is still some stellar animation yet to see. There's some greatness here beyond the comedy that we all knew the show was gonna keep maintain and hold on to. And yeah, hopefully this episode gets more people to stick around. Hopefully, by the way, if you want to spread the word that episode 3 is good, you can do so by spreading this video around, sharing this video on the internet if you feel like it. But yeah, that's going to be it for me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's deep thoughts video, or extended thoughts, you know, if you don't want to get too weird about it. Before I go, though, I have to give a huge shout out to the good folks over on Patreon, in particular, Omner Garamond, Veridin, Tristan, No For Nothing, Dominic, Evil, Urza, Caden Fate, Gabriel, Sipco Games, and Opinionated Slime. If you guys would like to have your names either featured or shouted out at the end of a video, be sure to check us out over on Patreon. Join us over there. It'd be a huge help. Much appreciated. And until our next meeting, folks, stay rad and don't scary.